The more you decide on doing something, the less likely you are to do it. I know this sounds stupid, but it is true. Let's say you have midterms coming up and you decide to study for them. Let's say you have 3 subjects, okay? So the first day has physics, English, and history. How you are going to decide how to study for them will impact everything, of course. And your commitment to that decision is more important than the actual decision itself. Let's say it's Monday and you have exactly 7 days to study. You want to finish a chapter of physics. Like solve all the exercises, write a summary maybe, that kind of stuff. What do you think you'll do? You will most likely procrastinate while saying things like, oh, I'm so tired of school, I'll start at noon or at night. And that's what you do when noon or night time arrives. You'll say either, hey, I'll just do it tomorrow, I have time. Or even worse, you won't actually notice noon or night time until it is too late at night because you had been so busy overstimulating yourself with video games and videos on YouTube and TikToks. The key to fixing this is self-discipline. I can't stress enough how important having self-discipline is in your life. And no, it's not the discipline you think you have. It is the actual discipline that you actually have. It is your ability to do something you don't want to because you realize how important doing it right now is. You have made yourself used to thinking that you are being productive while leveling up in video games and overstimulating yourself with short videos and whatnot. And you fully convince yourself that you can start at any time when you actually can't. Now, what does this sound like? What does it remind you of? It sounds exactly like the person who smokes or drinks and convinces themselves that, hey, it's my choice and I am actively making the decision and I can stop at any time that I want. When we all know in reality they're just addicted and they actually can't. Very stupid and wishy-washy, don't you think? You do not have control over yourself no matter how much you believe it. You have been programmed to chase instant gratification at all times and at all costs. It is very sad that that's how our society is built nowadays. You can't go a second without looking at your notifications or scrolling through TikToks or Instagram Reels, which are just as bad, if not even worse. You need to level up your skill in self-discipline and self-control. Now back to the exam. You keep procrastinating on it until you get to, let's say, Friday. Alright? Friday sounds reasonable. You don't have school the next day and you are worn out from school today. So what do? You decide to take Friday as a rest day and consider it a break before beginning. See how stupid your reasons are getting? You are taking a break from something before even starting it. You decide to start on Saturday morning and you get the idea that I'll wake up early and I'll study for the exams and whatnot. You know you won't. You wake up Saturday morning not feeling like it. You still have the time to do it, but you keep procrastinating and postponing it till later, saying you hadn't fully woken up yet. You're not used to being up so early. After struggling with convincing yourself that you should begin, you finally begin, and you realize how little time you have left. You look back at the previous Monday, when you were supposed to begin, and you feel nothing but pure hatred, disappointment, and resentment towards the past you, who actively chose to indulge in instant gratification activities over delayed gratification. You begin to study because you force yourself to. And let's say you finished physics for today and a couple of history chapters. On Sunday, you wake up late. Why do you ask? Well, you slept late because you chose to play video games and overstimulate yourself as a reward for the hard work you had done. And you have a couple more history chapters to finish and English and you need to revise. And let's say you somehow miraculously, okay? You manage to squeeze all three subjects in one day. You think you did relatively well on the tests, but the results come back and it's as disappointing as ever. There is no way this is my result, you think to yourself. It is hard to believe it, but you remember what happened. You had been studying so much. You have been neglecting your sleep, and you only got about 45 hours of sleep on the day of the exam. And you went to the exam tired and running on nothing but caffeine and a couple of hours of sleep. Basically worthless. You feel like shit, and quite frankly, you should, because you had all the time in the world. And you chose to indulge in instant gratification activities instead of choosing delayed gratification and actually studying for the test and getting the grade you actually deserve. You see, all this time, you have been deciding on studying. You hadn't actually started studying, but you just kept saying that you're going to study. And that's the result right in front of you. That grade is a reflection of the work you actually put in. It's not the one you think you put in. Just because you studied all day for 2 days doesn't mean anything. You went to the exam half asleep, you were overworked, and at any moment you could have just shut down because of the pressure you put on your body. And the sad thing is that this all could have been avoided. Convincing yourself you had tried your best is lying to yourself, because deciding on doing something isn't exactly the same as doing it. If you had actually tried your best, you would have begun on Monday when you still had all the time in the world. So, the moral of the story is, don't decide on doing something and go actually do it. If you tried to procrastinate less, you would probably have less stress in your life. Don't take time for granted. The point of having all this time that you have is to actually begin working on your projects, not to postpone the work till the day after, because you are going to do the work regardless. If it's now or in a million years, the work will be done. So do it when you still have the time and when time isn't a problem.